Duke at home as the underdogs, -2.5 for our friends over at FanDuel. The over-under set at 49.5. Look, this is a matchup that I think going into the season, these were two teams that you were like, okay, could they be sneaky contenders, especially Illinois within their conference? Illinois, kind of the pick for a lot of teams or for a lot of media, kind of so they didn't want to get left out like they did with Indiana last year. Luke Altmeyer returns for our 37th year of college football. Brett Bielema stands on business last year in the bowl game, comes out, big win, I guess a win for them in week 1. Yeah.
Prayers up for business.
Yeah, it's Brett Bielema is he's all over the place. And I talked to Luke Altmeyer over back at the Manning Passing Academy, and he mentioned, we got that interview on the channel. He mentioned the fact they just feel really good about all the weapons that they've added and the run game, the physical nature. We've all kind of talked about Brett Bielema, what he brings to the table, and kind of know like that's a guy who is going to be on, going to place an emphasis on offensive line, going to place an emphasis on being able to run the football. So Illinois enters this game, and they're going to be playing a Duke team that, it wasn't pretty early, but then you kind of saw why they went and invested in Darian Mensah. Mensah ends up finishing with a really nice game. This, to me, is going to be interesting. I got a couple points here, and Dr. Bob points out the first one. Duke can't play run defense the way they did against Elon if they want to win. Looking at some of my notes here on what Illinois can bring to the table in terms of the run, I think it's the biggest thing right here is Elon has had an athletic quarterback, Landon Clark. He had 163 yards, 2 touchdowns on 44 carries, which is actually insane. The Blue Devils last year allowed just a tick under 150 yards rushing per game. Illinois has a versatile running attack. They ran for 209, 3 scores, averaged 5.6 yards a carry in their week 1 win. They've got an experienced offensive line, 5 returning starters from 2024. They've got a trio of running backs. You've also got Altmeyer, who's athletic enough to be able to carry the football for you. I'll just start with this point. I think Illinois could gash Duke on the ground and maintain control, which is the recipe against getting upset, right? Controlling the tempo, making them play your brand of football. I like Manny Diaz, and I think that defense needs some time to gel, and I don't like this matchup for Illinois for Duke with Illinois' run game kind of start off with.
I'm with you. Illinois didn't play nobody. They played Western Illinois, so how much can you take away from that?
True.
But their run defense, they gave up 1 yard per rush. Western Illinois ran it 26 times for 29 yards. That's impressive, even against Western Illinois, because that's next to impossible. I didn't watch either of these games because, like Charles Barkley, I only watched the good teams. But Duke certainly, with Darian Mensah, we know has the chance, is certainly capable of being explosive.
Mm-hmm.
Against Elon, they averaged 9 yards per play, 14 yards per completion, so they definitely hit Elon for some big plays. They probably won't be able to do the same things against Illinois, at least in the explosiveness department. But if you're going to pull off an upset, you got to be explosive. So I think in that edge, give me Duke just for that little edge, not for the game, but in the explosiveness department. Is that, are we going to make up a stat like that for the crowd?
Explosiveness rate? I like it. Is that a stat already? It's got, how we calculate that?
I think so. The one thing that kind of I guess concerns me for Illinois' defense is that they're starting 3 transfers at defensive line. Yeah. And I don't always see that being a big issue mostly, but against a team that, like, with Manny Diaz coaches, the offensive line is going to be ready to go. Now, don't take that final score that Duke had last week, for anything. They were tied 10-all with Elon at halftime. Yeah. They were struggling. It wasn't Darian Mensah, it's just they were not finishing the drives. And, we said that about a lot of teams in the past in a few years, and they figured it out in the second half, but it's Elon. You should have had that figured out before you stepped on the field. I was kind of concerned with that. I think Darian Mensah is still very athletic. I like Luke Altmeyer. He's got way more snaps than anybody else in college football, probably. I would say he's up there with Pavia and Haynes King, had most snaps in college football because they're all 30 years old.
Yeah.
You can't say that, dude.
Dude, that is offensive.
How dare you?
On business. No, but look, I think Bryce, you said it, Illinois could gash them. I really do see that happening. I just don't see what Duke can go out there offensively enough to play in a shootout with somebody.
Yeah.
Even last year, they couldn't do that. I felt with a quarterback, and they were kind of they had a good offense. The defense was really the strong suit. Obviously, Manny Diaz is a great defensive mind coach.
Yeah.
I still think he is to this year. I just still think he needs some time. He needs to get his guys in there. He's battling with transfers every year. He really hasn't had a chance to get a full recruiting class yet. And I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to take Illinois the cover easily. I think they win by about 15 or 16 points in this game. I don't see it being a real blowout, but I do see it being a comfortable win for Illinois.
You like the over or under, Ralph? Are you touching that?
I'm not touching that. Because it could be a 48-30 game, or it could be a 30.
If Illinois goes into Duke and puts up 48 points, then I'm putting them in my top 12. I will say that. Like that'd be impressive to go on the road and put up nearly 50. No, look, to your point, I like Illinois minus 2.5 in this game. I'm with you. I think it could be a double-digit win in that maybe 10 to 15 point range. One more thing on this, and Will, you hit on this essentially a little bit about Duke, is they do have a veteran receiving corps. They've got guys that have played a lot of football. That's going to help Darian Mensah out, so it's just not the Darian Mensah show. But here's the big thing that I think a key to watch. Duke was either at the top or near the top of the ACC last year in averaging over 2 turnovers forced per game as a defense. They didn't force a turnover against Elon in week 1. Also, Illinois is coming off a season where they really rarely turned the ball over. They were really, really good at taking care of the football. If that's something, like you said, Ralph, that if that trend continues into this football game, that bodes well for Illinois. So the recipe for kind of the upset is, can Duke stop the run and force turnovers? If they can, I think the Blue Devils got a good shot, but I'm taking Illinois. I'm taking a big win for Luke Altmeyer and Brett Bielema on the road in ACC country. And I would say, too, because I do think, and I've said this multiple times, I think Duke's going to be a quality win, a pretty good win down the road for a lot of teams. I think this is, an awesome opportunity for Illinois to boost that out of conference or just their resume in general. Should they be and we kind of think they will, should they be in a situation where they're looking for an at-large bid? So I've got Illinois minus 2.5. Ralph's got a minus 2.5. Will, where do you sit?
I got Illinois minus 2.5. I think Illinois, they're a Brett Bielema team for sure. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be physical. I think they'll go in and out physical Duke. And to Ralph's point, I think Manny Diaz might be one recruiting class away really from really being able to have his mark on his program. So give me Illinois.